Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today it's time for another 5 games to add to the A500 Mini. This time we're looking at some not bad movie games because, as we all know, most of the movie tie-ins for consoles and computers and everything from this generation were not so good. So it's rare to see a few good ones out there, and there are a few good ones out there, and today this video will tell you what I think are 5 definitely worthwhile games to add with movie tie-in. I'm not proclaiming these games to be the greatest games in the universe, although one of them is a very good contender for that, but you know, these are just good games based on the movie that they were supposed to represent. Without further ado, and any waffling from me, let's get on with the 5. Okay, first up we have Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the adventure game. What more needs to be said about this game? This game is phenomenal. It's a LucasArts point-and-click adventure, which basically just lets you play the whole movie. Follows it pretty much to the letter, apart from obviously the standard very funny LucasArts jokes that you get in their point-and-click adventures. But this is probably the greatest game out there that makes you feel like Indiana Jones. The Fate of Atlantis was brilliant as well, and maybe even a better game, but I couldn't include that because obviously it's not based on a movie, so that doesn't quite fit the criteria. If it was based on a movie character, that may well have got in ahead, but this game is brilliant if you want to relive the best Indiana Jones movie. Play this all the way through. Even knowing the movie helps, because sometimes the little things he did in the movie are included in this game, so if you know the movie well, you can kind of use your knowledge in this one, so it's fantastic fun. Let's see what the magazine said. This is CU Amiga, and it got 93%, 92% graphics, 93% playability, 94% on puzzle ability. Yes, and they said, so you'd better get indie for yourself. You'll find it an intriguing adventure that's a pleasure to play. I totally agree. If you are familiar with the point-and-click LucasArts style adventure games, you're going to have a blast with it. It follows that, but it also, if you love the movies as well, it follows those too. My only minor gripe with this game was when you had to fight people, because I used to find that very difficult. I don't know how you guys found that. Maybe you'll let me know in the comments below, but yeah, I guess that's the one downside to this. Otherwise, it's a massively fun adventure game. Really makes you feel like Indiana Jones, and definitely one of the better movie games out there. Okay, next on the list we are going to look at Lethal Weapon, which is a platform style game, which a lot of these movie tie-in games were platform games, let's face it, and you controlled either Riggs or Murtaugh. You could choose which one you wanted to be. Yeah, and it's not bad. It's on this list, so you know it's not bad, but it's just very good fun. The review I'm looking at here, CU Amiga, it says something which I would say is definitely true. It says it's very challenging without being frustrating. It is challenging. There was a level, I played through it on my channel. I think I played it on the SNES, so it's the same game essentially. And there was a bit where there was this guy, I just could not kill this guy. I don't know if maybe I was using the wrong character. I don't know if there is a trick to maybe who you pick or whatever for certain missions, but yeah, I was finding it quite difficult. It's got a very good soundtrack though. I do love that. And let's see some of the things it says on here. Well, it got 90% overall in this magazine, 83 for graphics, 81 for sound, 91 for playability. Fans of the film will no doubt be disappointed by the lack of tie-ins in the game. Yes, it doesn't follow the movies closely, so don't think that you're going to get a movie clone here. It's like kind of like a game based on the movies more than it follows the plot of any particular one. The movies have some excellent car chases, and the inclusion of one of those wouldn't have gone amiss. Yeah, that's good, yeah. It's likely this will do very well in the charts, especially now up to Christmas. It remains to be seen whether it will run for as long as the film series. Well, yeah, true. I've got to admit though, Lethal Weapon is one of my favourite film series out there. So any game where I get to be Riggs or Murtaugh is instantly going to appeal to me to start with anyway. And they did a very good job with this. Even the folks over at Lemon Amiga give it 7.47 from 87 votes. Most people giving it around about 4 or 5. So it's a good game, definitely worth checking out, and definitely better than a lot of the movie games of the time. Okay, next on the list we have Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. My wife absolutely loves Elvira. She thinks she's fantastic, and yeah, so we've played this game together, and yeah, what a lot of fun. I haven't actually seen the movie though, so I don't know if this counts, whether I should be the authority on speaking on this one. But having said that though, these games are not meant to follow the movie plot necessarily, and I don't know whether there is any, you know, follow-on to the movie in this game. It's just a fun, it's kind of like an RPG adventure style game. It's just a lot of fun, a lot of silliness, good graphics, quite scary actually in places, like quite a foreboding sort of atmosphere as well. It's just a fun game, and let's have a look at what the magazines gave it. This is from Amiga Action, and they gave it 86 87% overall. Elvira has to be one of the best graphic adventures I have seen. The graphics are superb, and although there's a fair amount of disc swapping, the end result is worthwhile. Locations have been beautifully drawn with great attention to detail. The sound is equally as good, with some very atmospheric tunes for each different location. So there you go. It's not, I'm not going to turn around and say, oh, it's the best game on the system by any means, but we're looking at movie games specifically here, and this one definitely is one of the better ones out there. And the folks at Lemon Amiga agree, putting it at 8.23 for 96 votes. So there you go. A bit of an endorsement from there too. So it's not just my opinion. But yeah, check this one out if you've never played it before and you've got any affiliation to Elvira, or if you just like to play a nice RPG adventure game that's a little bit spooky. Okay, next on the list we have Dune. I think it's Dune. Some people say June. I don't know. It's really confusing, but it got 8.48 on Lemon Amiga from 166 votes. I do prefer number 2, and that did make my list earlier, or one of my lists earlier. I'll leave a link in the description for that, most probably. If I forget, then you know how to find it. It's on my channel. But yes, I did prefer the second. I think most people do actually think the second one is better, but obviously the movie is called Dune, and this is called Dune, so I had to go for this version, I feel, because I felt like putting number 2 on was a bit of a cheat, even though they're both obviously technically from the same universe. But yes, so let's see what the magazines had to say about this one. I've got a review from Amiga Action where it scored 87%. It got, I think that says 88% for graphics, it's so small, and 90% for sound. Yes, and it says, although the central core of Dune follows the adventure format, there's a chunk of strategy thrown in. The two combine to produce a finished product that keeps you coming back for more. And they complain a little bit about the difficulty level, but it says it was a bit too easy. Well, I don't remember, because I played it back in the day when obviously I was quite young, you know, really I probably appreciated that it was easy. I completed Indiana Jones on this list when I was young, without using a guide, which these days probably if I was playing through games, the common ones, I might have to use a guide at some point because they are so difficult. Yeah, I was only a kid when I played it, so difficulty wasn't really a problem. Still a fun game to play, and I don't mind playing an easy game sometimes, because you know there's so many games in the world to play that if you can play through a game you love, even if it is quite easy, at least you're going to get to see the whole product, you know. So that's what I feel anyway. I don't want every game I play to be easy, but sometimes if it's too challenging, you just won't go back to it, will you, this day and age? But anyway, I digress. Dune, definitely worthy of a place on here. It's a different style game to anything else on this list as well, being that it is like a real-time strategy game and a bit of adventure thrown in too, and definitely worth a check out if you haven't played this game before. Okay, and finally on this list, I'm sure some people are going to disagree with this one. License to Kill by Domark. It's only got 5.95 on Lemon Amiga. I have managed to find a review for it where it did score quite well, and well, I say quite well, it got 71% in Amiga format. I could have picked different reviews that had it higher to back my argument up, but yeah, I don't mind that some people won't like this as much, and I personally had a blast when I played this when I was younger. I love James Bond, and this was still to this day, this is one of my favourite Bond movies of all time, so to play a game that is about this movie is always fun for me. I always loved it. The first part in the helicopter is quite difficult, well it was when I was a kid anyway. As soon as the helicopter lands, then you become Bond on the ground and you have to shoot enemies with like a little sort of reticule thing. You have to aim it around corners and stuff, and I used to love that. That was my favourite part of the whole game, and so I'm a bit biased. I know it's not the greatest game in the world, but for me at the time when I was a kid, this was the first game that made me feel like James Bond, so for me that memory gets it on this list. Like I said, there's people out there that are probably going to totally disagree with this one being on here. The Amiga format said License to Kill has been nicely done, and that in a sense is what it's there for. Some sections are very playable, but though it's fun for a while, it's not likely to keep you playing for months. See, now I don't mind that again, because like I said in the previous comment, you know, we've got a lot of games on a lot of systems in our lives now, so you don't really want a game to outstay its welcome. So, you know, if you play this for a couple of months, how good is that? You know, getting a couple of months gameplay and moving on to something else. I wouldn't. I don't think you'll play it for a couple of months, personally. Maybe back then you would, but nowadays now you've got it where you can save the game all the time, so you know you're not going to be dying and then having to start again sort of thing. You can probably breeze through this game in a couple of days. But if you like being James Bond and that sort of thing, then it's good. I would say it was definitely my favourite way to be James Bond before GoldenEye came along on the Nintendo 64 and then just blew that out of the water. But while it lasted, it was good, and I think it's worthy of a place on the list. I just know that people are going to jump all over me with this list, so I just want to say some honourable mentions that could have made the list. The reason they didn't, or 3 of them didn't at least, was because I have them on other lists and I didn't want to pepper this list with the same games that I've already talked about. So we have Robocop 3, with 3D driving game and shooting game. It made my top 20 games that you guys picked out in the comments, as did the next one, the Addams Family, fun platformer. Like I said, most of these games used to be made by Ocean. That was also on a previous list, as was Batman the movie, which is a special game for me because it's the first game I ever played on Commodore Amiga, and again that was also on a previous list. And then we have Aladdin, which the reason I didn't put this on was because, personally speaking, I never played it on the Amiga. It was always a Sega Mega Drive game for me, so I can't really tell you whether it compares. I've seen screenshots, it looks exactly the same as the Mega Drive version, but again, if it's anything like the Mega Drive version, it's definitely worthy of a place, especially an honourable mention, potentially a place on the list. But I can't fit all the games on there. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to come up with more in the comments, so please do tell me what you think should be on this list, what the best movie game out there is, if you agree with any of the ones on here, if you have one that is special to you that most people don't like, let me know down below. I mean, like I said, License to Kill is probably a personal choice for me, but I know some people do like it, but there is a little bit of hatred for it out there too, so you know, I'm prepared for the backlash. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you are new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. I apologise for the way I've been today. I am nursing a cold. You may be able to tell with my voice. I'm trying desperately not to cough into the microphone, which is probably why I'm speaking very fast, but I'm not usually like this on this channel. Check out the old videos if you want to know what my voice is usually like and not sounding like Super Frog or anything. But and also, if you want to leave me a comment, you can leave it down below obviously, or you can leave it on social media addresses which are on the screen now. Suggestions for any games, if there's anything you want me to see me do once I get the A500 Mini, any guides, anything you want there, just let me know and I'll be happy to oblige. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks very much for being a part of the discussions in the last few weeks. I've had a great time talking to you guys about Commodore Amiga stuff. Keep it coming. Let's keep this going, because I will talk about the Amiga till the cows come home. I love it so much. Okay guys, thanks so much. Take care. See you on the next one. Bye for now.